Why is getting wealthy so hard? I think I have a pretty good idea on why it is so hard. So, Dion, you are up first.
If you had to start today, how would you do it? We know what worked. I think the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about getting wealthy is
why is getting wealthy so hard? After interviewing dozens and dozens of millionaires, going back in their timelines to understand the processes, decisions, sacrifice, and work required, I think I have a pretty good idea on why it is so hard. But instead, we're going to play the game of ping pong where we go around the table and allow each of us to kind of say why we think it is so hard. So, Dion, you are up first. Why is it so hard to get wealthy?
I think the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about getting wealthy is doubt. One of the most common questions we get is, if you had to start today, how would you do it? We don't have doubt. We know what worked. We know that we'd add the element of time. It's going to take years. It's going to take focus, daily discipline, do the work, learn a market, find average, filter through the deals, make offers, reach financial freedom. But we've done it. That's the level of security we have. A lot of the people watching our content know that we did it, but there's that doubt. Can they do it? Because they haven't done it yet. Doing it based on what we're sharing is possible because we've seen that over and over and over. But I think that's the first thing people need to get past, is that level of doubt that they have, because the next 5 and 10 years is going to happen whether they invest or not.
Yeah,
doubt
one of the things that
doing anything.
One of the things I want to highlight, that's the exact reason I wrote this book, 15 Conversations with Millionaires, Real Estate Millionaires, is because I only could talk about my story. You can only talk about yours. But I went out and collected 15 different stories from 15 different people doing 15 different things because of doubt. And frankly, that book hasn't sold enough. Part of the reasons is price. If you're ever going to publish a book, folks, don't put pictures in it, because pictures are expensive for Amazon to create. I put a lot of pictures in that for my influencers, but yeah, so don't do that. But at the end of the day, a lot of you are struggling in the first 5 years of getting started. This book was written for you. 15 different stories from 15 different people doing 15 different things, and it worked out. If you have any doubt, go get this on Amazon. And as a treat, you can go to Audible and hear the sexy voice of Dion reading you the book. So go get it today. Have some fun. Thank you, Dion, for number one. Matt, what do you think is the number one reason why getting wealthy is so hard?
First time those two words were ever used in the same sentence.
Ouch.
Stop. He knows I'm joking. I've used those words about him in the same sentence. So I think obsession, there's a lack of it in our current society. There's a lack of properly aligned obsession. One of the things that I've always done really well is hire. I've always hired really well. And it's because I hire smart and I hire obsessed. I can teach you the rest of anything. And if I can get you obsessed about it, game on, you're going to be awesome at something, whatever it is. Right. And I think that there's a lot of misaligned obsession. You know, if you're, what are you obsessed about? What are you spending all of your time consuming, trying to get amazing at, trying to skill up in? If you have obsession, I mean, that's where it's kind of like, for me, I think Dion's the same way. We'll kind of go down a path where we learn a bunch about something. And then if it continues to interest us, we'll keep going. And if it doesn't, we don't. And then we know a whole lot that we learned in a little bit of time about a thing. Something like, the migration habits of a mockingbird. You look it up one day and boom, Dion and I are down a rat hole, or a mockingbird hole, as it were. But that's where I think the toughest thing about getting rich is obsession. You need to be, largely speaking, obsessed about it. You need to be obsessed about what you're doing to accomplish that, whether it's flipping couches like Pineda, which I respect the game, man. That is a hard racket. But that's the grind, right? And I'm a fan of Gary V. My kids are, every Sunday in the summer and springtime, they are yard sailing every Saturday without fail. And it's because they're learning the game. When my kids are 14 and they can hop on their bikes and go to a yard sale and they know what something's worth and they can buy it and they can flip it and they can create their own financial destiny. At 18, my kids are going to bury most business owners because they know how to run a business and they know it's about being obsessed and learning. And so I think the biggest one for me is obsession. A lot of people lack obsession about the right thing.
Yeah, there's so many reasons that I've seen, but I think the number one is, I don't know, delayed gratification. I don't know how else
Oh
to
yeah,
say it. We have
sure.
we have a microwave society. Um, we have a lot of people making FOMO or daily decisions that they
Mhm.
regret the next day. I see getting wealthy as the same process to get six-pack abs. It's not done in a day. It's not done solely by working out, right? You can't get a six-pack working out 7 days a week if you eat like garbage, right? Unless you have freakish DNA. But getting wealthy is, you know, this is the problem, right? And Dion, I think you and I did a video on your channel the other day. Everybody's at two paths, and if you don't pick, you're on one. There's one path that looks really easy, but later in life gets really hard, but you can't see it from where you are. And then there's the other path that looks ridiculously hard for the first couple of years, but then gets really easy, but you can't see it. That's what I think getting wealthy is. And most people sit at that path going, damn it, I'm going to take the well-worn, clearly marked, very safe path. And they end up working 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40%. Some of us, the three of us, said, you know what? F that path. I'm going to go climb this rock without a safety harness. I could die, but I think there's a better thing at the top of this. And we all got there. And you know what? It's a pretty nice view. I just don't think people have, delayed gratification. So that's my number one. Dion, what do you got for number two?
Number two, it kind of piggybacks on your delayed gratification, looking at the marshmallow study,
Yeah.
the kids with the 5-minute delay to get to. I think people focus on what they want instead of what they're going to want.
Ooh.
If you ask anybody who's watching our content that says, how do you get started today? And you say, if I started today and it looked exactly like I started 10 years ago, I'd save for 2 years. I'd work overtime for 2 years. I'd play World of Warcraft for 2 years and sell things on eBay. And in 2 years, I'd buy my first deal. So if you're starting today at the end of 2023, I'm telling you, at the end of 2025, you buy your first deal. They don't want that. They want it now. They want financial freedom today. How does it happen? And I don't know. What are you going to want? Because today is 5 years from 5 years ago, when you had the opportunity to start buying rentals to get on this path. And then you hear that statistics of 48% of Americans between the age of 55 and 65 have zero saved for retirement. That means they spent all of their life up to 55 never thinking about what they were going to want when they hit retirement age, always focused on what they wanted that day. So I think one of the hard things with getting wealthy is literally thinking, what am I going to want? And what do I need to do today to have it then? Because we can't make changes today to instantly be financially free. I mean, that lottery ticket mentality, the microwave mentality exists. And the few people who figure out the small changes I can make today, learning to save, working on my credit score, talking to a lender to find out what my options are, and then working out a timeline, a reasonable timeline. Those people that figure that out will be financially free. And getting the same question from the people today in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if you were starting now? Because I have to start now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. What do you got for number two, Matt?
Work-life balance.
Ooh, tell me more.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
you
that
gotta be obsessed, right? Yeah.
Got to be obsessed. But I think the other piece of that too is that, so we talked about, getting wealthy, right? So how do you get wealthy? Well, first of all, so I'm going to get a little bit Dion on us, and that is, what's that goal? What do you establish as being wealthy? What is that? Is wealthy to you 38 hours a week and you get to spend all your time with your kids, or you get to spend all your time gaming, or you get to spend all your time at the range, or what does that look like? Is it 5 days a week of golf in the summertime? What is wealthy? And so that's where, for me, it's like a lot of people identify wealthy as a lot of money. And some people, the smarter people usually, identify a lot of happiness as wealthy. And so I think Dion has a good amount of money, but I think he's got a lot about a happiness.
Yeah, I agree.
right?
I
You know, and for me, I've got a good amount of money, but I got a lot about of happiness. I've got all my kids. We have a blast. I'm around them in the morning. I'm around them for lunch. I'm around them for dinner. Some say that would be too much. Some days it is.
yeah,
Um,
sorry to interrupt, but
yeah.
this just hit me. So I don't think it's unfair to say that my sister and I are completely different people.
Mhm.
I remember about 20 years ago. So we had just started, right? I'm traveling the world, 3 countries a day. I only have like when I say every day is Saturday, that actually means something to me because I worked 6 days a week. I traveled an ungodly amount. I had quota every 90 days. I could be high stress environment, right? And I remember this conversation with my sister. I think she had 2 kids at the time. She may have had one, I think 2. And she was happy as all get out. And I remember
Mhm.
telling her, it was probably Thanksgiving, it might have been Christmas. I said, Anne, I don't know who's right. You might have figured out life
Mhm.
because being happy, content, happy, all of that, you could be winning. And that was hard for me to say because I was always wrapped around go make as much money, go, eat what you
Mhm.
kill, work, work,
Mhm.
work, work, work. And I remember thinking, I am not as happy as her. I'm not even as close to as happy as I think she is. And I just remember saying, I think you might have won. And now if we fast forward 20 years, it may have reversed a little bit. But yeah, I remember that going, I might have this wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I think it. I think it because that's the way my life is. I'm super blessed. I get to spend a ton of time with my kids and my friends and family. I do it as I choose, largely speaking. Sure, I've got a W-2 job, but it's different now than it was even 12 weeks ago. And so, I mean, that's why for me it really is, freedom. You do get a level of freedom with money. Money doesn't directly make you happy, but the things that it can afford you, it does help, because it's time, and it's at the same time too. I know I have friends that have never made 6 figures in a year ever. And they're great people and we get along great. And when we get together, it's not about things we have. In fact, I like being able to do the really cool, fun stuff and bring them along and have them enjoy it with me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that wealth in and of itself it's nice, but it's far more important what you're doing with it and what it affords you to actually have true wealth.
Yeah. I think number 2, and we'll go around one more time. I think the biggest struggle for getting wealthy is people are not starting with the right number.
Could be.
And what do I mean by that? A lot of people say I make X, like my income is X. If you're a little bit advanced, you know what you make net of taxes. But all of that stuff doesn't matter, right? Grant Cardone talks about this all the time, as do others. You've got to increase your income or lower your expenses or both, because what you need to get wealthy is you need discretionary income or seeds that you can save, invest, that make more money. The
Mhm.
key to getting wealthy is not selling your time. It is taking capital that you don't need to live and investing it so it can produce more money, right? Um, and when, in my opinion, wealthy is when your money is working hard enough that it pays for your monthly expenses, a la Dion in San Antonio, Texas, just having fun. It's because his money is paying for his lifestyle. So I think the number one thing is nobody talks about discretionary income. Nobody tracks it. Nobody tries to grow it. Most people don't understand it. And it is the thing to get wealthy. So one more time around, Dion, what do you got?
So I think it'll be obvious fairly quickly who I'm referencing when I talk about this, but I think one of the major challenges that most, I would say almost 100%, not 100%, really close though, of people in the United States struggle with wealth is indoctrination.
Hmm.
If you want somebody to think a certain way, you start young. And what happens when we're 5? And now it's even preschool.
Hmm.
Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day. A bell tells you when to start. Here's when you take your lunch break. You get your weekends off, so work really hard during the week so you can enjoy your weekend. You are going to get rewarded for hard work. Put more effort into your work, you'll get an A. Doesn't matter if you have the right answer. You need to show your work. So when you get out, you think you're going to be rewarded for hard work, Monday through Friday, live for the weekend. If you only work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, you're building someone else's dream.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make you wealthy. Very few people have wealth come from their paycheck. And the statistic bears this out with, ask anybody about a teacher's compensation and they'll say teachers are underpaid. What's one of the largest groups of people who end up becoming millionaires?
I saw that.
Teachers. Right. So because what they do with their money, and learning how to put money to work is not happening by being paid. Like you said, you need to stop selling your time, stop selling your life 1 hour at a time. What can you do to put your money to work to generate wealth? And it's a hard one to break because all of us started getting it when we were young. Some of us in the 9th grade exit stage left and figure it out sooner than others. Matt, that's you.
I gathered. I was just guessing. Never know.
Never know. That's funny. Yeah, very good. Matt, what do you got for the last one?
I think the general literacy of finances. General literacy of finances. It blows my mind. It blows my mind because I like helping people that they just are like, hey, so you're really successful. Thank you for saying. What do you want? I want to talk about money. Okay, let's talk about money. Not my money, your money.
Yeah.
You know? And so I go through it and it's the same over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's the same thing. It's way beyond their means, don't understand what an APR is, don't understand the cost of money, don't understand the cost of time, don't understand any of that. It's just, truthfully, it's just general literacy. And frankly, no offense to teachers, it's not their job. It's not their job. It's the parent's job. You're the parent. You need to teach them financial literacy. And if you don't know it yourself, then you need to go invest in yourself and learn some financial literacy. Because there's nothing wrong with a health check. I pay my amazing EA and CPA, Bob.
Yeah. Bob Langley.
I pay him multiple
Main
times
bean
a year.
counters.
Yep. Multiple times a year. I pay to spend an hour with him. And I get his feedback because he understands money better than I do. So, and the rules to play it within. So I have that conversation multiple times a year that I pay for. We go through that process so I can better understand, is there a better way of doing it? It may surprise people. I make mistakes with money.
Yeah.
And sadly, it usually has a comma involved, which sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Sucks. I always just pray for not a second comma.
Yeah.
There's areas I want commas. There's other areas I don't. But that's one of the things I think that a lot of people miss in getting wealthy is they're watching the influencer. They're trying to be the next big influencer. They're trying to be the next Ryan Pineda. They're trying to be the next, Brandon Turner, or they're even trying to be the next Mike Zuber. It happens. Yeah. Misguided sometimes, but it happens.
Yeah, don't do that. You don't want to be Mike Zuber.
The idea is it's still the same idea, right? It's foundational. Foundational is you get your money right. You have a course that talks about getting your money right. It's less than $100, right? Yep. Is it $100?
99 bucks. Yep.
Like, do yourself a favor. Don't do a dinner with your wife one time.
Yeah.
Just once. And do that. And get yourself set on a path where wealthy is possible, because it doesn't matter how much water you put in the top of the tank if there's a hole in the bottom. It doesn't matter. You'll never out shovel the water or out bucket the water into that tank to get enough of it in there where it's not escaping the bottom and you'll never get off that rat race. You'll never get off that wheel. So yeah, I think that fundamentals, are far too often missed when it comes to be wealthy. Everybody says, I need the next great idea to get wealthy. You need the first idea, which is how you can keep some of that and how you then invest in yourself and then how you grow it. That's really the trick. The trick is multiplication, not addition.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat and give two, like an A, B, and my third as we wrap this one up. It's my show, so I can do that.
I was going to say it's your show.
So the first one I was going to say is the early part of getting wealthy is not sexy. skipping a
No.
dinner, not going out with your friends, having one car where most of your friends have two cars, not upgrading your condo for 10 years. Right? There's a lot of stuff that we did for the first 5 to 8 years that were not only not sexy, but some would even call embarrassing.
Mm.
Right? If your ego was wrapped up in stuff and having more or less than your network, you would have called Olivia and I's lifestyle embarrassing. And I'm sure some of our friends did behind our back. So again, the early parts of getting wealthy is not sexy. It doesn't look good in social media. You know, your friends may not get it. And then the second one, the B of that, is your friend network. I really can look at your 5 closest friends and predict your future.
Mhm.
And I've told people this over and over. And I just told a college class. I was speaking at Fresno University Friday. And one of the things I said during the QA session was, you know, think about your 5 closest friends. And I can guarantee you the following statement is true. I said, your 5 friends suck. They suck. Like in college, your 5 friends suck. They're not really going anywhere. They're talking about the party or this, the that, the other. And I mean, how many people watching this can think about their 5 friends and what are they trying to do? Are they playing video games, going to the clubs, smoking out? Or are they talking about getting better? Are they talking about money? Talking about money is okay. It's not taboo. It's not religion. It's not this or that. Talk about money. Get around people that talk about money. Get around people that want you to be better instead of talk behind your back. Matt, how can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Instagram, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be back in my normal time slot after participating in the amazing One Rental at a Time bootcamp, which is a lot of fun. Great students in
Yeah.
there. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was fun. They had great feedback. I don't know if you've seen
Oh,
the
good.
comments, but they love you. And
I'm
most people do.
behind.
Dion, where can people find you?
Find me right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I was looking at in my head at this video. We could have made this like the roulette wheel of finances, because I came up with really quick 36 reasons why getting wealthy is hard. And those 2 greens, 2 really easy reasons why getting wealthy is easy. So future video.
Oh,
Nice.
I'm
Well
intrigued.
done. Well teased.
Thank you, buddy.